all the consulates of the world are right here. So I get invited to Dubai. I get invited all of these places when they're having their events here. And we just created a social network of referrals where people are now flying in and staying here for time just to be in our office and visit our office.
Everyone, welcome to this edition of the UAC Best Practices podcast. As always, the point of this is for you to learn from the wisdom and the genius of somebody who's in UAC. To be a UAC member, your clinic or business in chiropractic is a minimum of $1 million in revenue. Some of our biggest clinics are going to hit $100 million this year. So you're learning from people, and there's non-chiropractors that have businesses that serve chiropractic, but the majority of UAC is chiropractors, many with very successful practices. And so we have just one of those guests today. But first, let me introduce my co-host, Dr. Brian Capra. Brian, why don't you take it away, brother?
Thanks, Doc. Appreciate it. We have a great guest, Dr. Ben Shamoiel. Gotten to know each other really well over the years in UAC, and one of the fun little tidbits is I know you DJ, and I've actually had done some DJing in your practice at points. So a lot of fun, great guy, great personality, obviously very successful in what he does out in California. So Doc, to Alan's point, we have a bunch of docs that are going to view this. They understand that UAC is a cultivated group of highly successful chiropractors and business owners. And what kind of little nugget best practice can you give them? What have you been thinking about?
So I have many that come to mind, but really it's for me, it was branding. Being the LA chiropractor was a mission. We've worked really hard, and I know branding gets thrown around a lot, like, hey, what is that? But through education, social media, getting out in the community, we've been able to dominate our area and become really, as far as Google's concerned, we're number one. Like really within our area, we are number one. So we went out and dominated the area, and we went out to really be the number one brand and office and service in this area. So
How'd you do it? Obviously, you came up with the name.
What is the brand? What's the brand?
Yeah, how'd you do it? How'd you build it?
Well, first of all, I picked an area that I knew that was going to be really sensitive. So you see Beverly Hills behind me in Century City. And I know, Alan, you both are familiar with this area. Now, this area that I'm in is a vertical area. So it's all firms and stuff. So I knew that we had to get in. I knew that I had to really create a presence in the area. And we do have a very dominant, strong Chamber of Commerce here. So at the beginning, I had to Trojan horse the Chamber of Commerce when I first started out. And I leveraged them to allow me to go into all of these firms and kind of take over on the ground level. And we used TikTok and social media to really use education. It's the old Glauchy way, right? To edutain, right? Use the education and use some entertainment, make it fun and get the message across. And so we got up to at once 70,000 on our TikTok. We had people were calling from all over the world. But at that point, I realized it's not getting to the people who I want, which is the local area. And that's where we really focused on getting out into the community. And, I really became the corporate chiropractor for a while here and doing all the corporate education. So I ended up dominating this area that I wanted to make sure if you worked in Century City or in Beverly Hills, you had to know who I was. And so every event that was out there, I spent 10 years just hammering the ground. And now the payoff has, I get all the consulates of the world are right here. So I get invited to Dubai. I get invited all of these places when they're having their events here. And we just created a social network of referrals where people are now flying in and staying here for time just to be in our office and visit our office. So I think it takes, you have to be creative. I think you have to be willing to get out. I know we've gone so hard into digital that we've forgotten to do the live things and connect and
Hmm.
create an audience. So we're still digging into these corporate events and keynote speakers and wellness speakers. And so we're still diving deep into this local area and creating that influence.
Doc, something you said there, the corporate doctor. Yeah, I remember how much credibility that brought, because I that's what I had done in the Princeton area. So very early in practice, I wound up getting into Dow Jones and Princeton University and Wyeth. I did all these lunch and learns at one of them was Wyeth, and I who makes Advil, and I spoke bad about Advil. Not thinking, but it turned out they kept inviting me back. But
Right.
one of the things I realized is not and Whole Foods and is that you know yeah, it's a one to many, and people get to know you at the company, and those are big companies. The HR person knows you, and then they talk to other HR people, right? They have their own little networks, and you can leverage those relationships. But when you're building that one relationship, and you ask them for referrals. Who else? What other companies do you know that might benefit? What other HR people do you network with in the area? And then all of a sudden, you're just doing lunch and learns and doing that, and then you're saying at the next one after you get the first one, it's like, yeah, I do, lunch and learn. I think I called lunch and learns. I'm not sure I remember what we called it, but I did it at Dow Jones, and I've done it at Wyeth, and I've done it at Princeton University, and so on and so forth. So have you seen that a similar type of, I kind of
Yes.
felt like it was an exponential growth rather than,
And
yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
So a lot of these areas are law firms. So we have this organization, ALA, which is the Greater Los Angeles Law Association. All the law firm managers have their own association. So they meet once a month, whether it's here or downtown LA behind me. So once the word got out to these managers, I was like, oh, I'm looking for somebody to come and do a workshop. Oh, you got to call Dr. Ben, and he's right around the
yep,
corner. So I got started hand passed around, as I like to say, from all of these law firms. And the great thing was they're all vertical, right? So you got
hmm
60 floors of one firm after the other, and we would just go across. So you've seen the Twin Towers across in Century City. There's 8,000 people. The CAA, Creative Artists Agency, is right there. So we've dived into all of these, and then the word has gotten out. And so now it took a while, just like you said. I mean, it took almost 5 or 6 years. But once that ball rolled, it's just grown.
yeah,
And it feels like being in Century City is like a big college campus when I'm walking through. You know everybody at lunchtime. Everybody's out and about. So it's built that reputation in this area because 40,000 people who are just working in a few square blocks, like in New York or all these other areas. So that's really been the great press. So those corporate talks really blew it up for us.
Where would
yeah.
you
It's
start, Ben, for somebody starting out today with everything you know? If you were out to start from scratch and build a brand, where would you be your starting point today?
If I had to start today, I really think, and I give it up to Brad because he was my catapult. So that was the biggest thing that I could do. Again, social media is great, but that connection and being able to speak in front of people it's so exponential. We've all done orientations, we've all done results, we've all done these things, and we can see the outcome is so much greater in our offices than bringing in people on Google. And so if
yeah,
I had to tell somebody, you got to get out you got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to get out of this headspace that the digital marketing is going to solve all your problems. And you got to get out and get uncomfortable, meet your town. If I was to do it again, I'd find myself a nice small town, and I know we dominate that place in about a year because using the same practice, the same principles of just educating our area, making it fun, doing something great for them. And everybody, so I got this nickname as, those little, the kids' birthday parties, those little bubbles, right? The little like to go back.
Yeah.
So I take them to my stress talks, right? And I just make this big thing out of it. I go, I have the solution to all your stress. And I put it in everybody's hands. I'm like, don't open up your hand. Then they open up your hands. I go, blowing bubbles. I go, you can't be mad blowing bubbles. So everybody walks around. And like, look, you can't get upset and blow bubbles at the same time. And so everybody knows, hey, Doc, I still got your bubbles. I still got the little thing. I use it all the time. That's the best one. So you create an impact that lasts forever doing live events, and learn so much even from our circle in UAC, little tidbits, watching Franton, watching Clarino, watching all of these docs do their magic up on stage and then bringing it back here and adding that into the system that we have organized.
Well said. Last question, Ben. UAC, what's been the benefit for you being involved in a group like UAC over the years?
Oh man, get a little goosebumps. I gotta tell you, it was a slow start for me. I felt like it was so, there were so many great things going on and so many powerful people in this group. It was a bit intimidating. But I knew I have to stick there and build my friendships and build my connections. And so over the years, that has paid off. Now, I got to tell you, our own, just our mastermind group has probably been one of the best parts of my life over the last year. Even though we were at 3 years, the information, the exchange, the being there, the support, the knowledge, the wisdom is always phenomenal. Then getting to know everybody and the times that we hang out, not only in the room, but outside the room, you pick up something every single time and you bring it back and you put it to work, whether it's in your personal life or in practice. I have my vision of how to handle wealth, how to handle finances and wealth, and how to grow my practice. And at that time, I was all by myself, and then the opportunity to have multiple practices and talking to people who have 2 to 30 practices, or and scale so big, and just getting such nuggets hanging around. And the most important one is the friendships and camaraderie. Again, my mastermind group is awesome. Like, we could pick up the phone, we jam, we support each other. Everybody goes through their times. You need a little pick me up. That people check on me, I check on them, and we've become great friends and phenomenal like takeaways on each one of our meetings. We've got a great
Awesome, Ben.
Awesome,
Well,
Ben.
we're blessed to have you be part of us, and thanks for dropping wisdom, Ben. It's I think that's the best view, Brian, anybody's shown up with
Yeah,
on this
so far,
podcast
definitely.
by a mile. So
It's a little hazy outside. We had a lot of fog.
That's an amazing green screen. I don't know how you. I got to get that one. That background is amazing.
It's a good view. So yeah, I'm blessed to come here every day and hang out.
love
Enjoy.
it. Well done.
Thank you,
Thanks,
man.
Dr. Ben. We appreciate you.
Thanks,
Have
Doc.
a great day.
See you soon.
Thanks.
All right. Take care, guys.